The Jaguars went 4-13 last season. They were a team riddled with injuries, some players having down years, and well, Doug Pederson and Trent Baalke. But something feels different as we head into the 2025 NFL season, and I have a feeling that the Jaguars have a legitimate shot to win the AFC South. The Jaguars were straight up bad in 2024. Their defense was 27th in points allowed, 31st in yards allowed, and their offense was 26th in points scored and 25th in yards gained. However, there were some factors that helped the Jaguars back. Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk, Tyson Campbell, Evan Engram, and Gabe Davis all missed a significant amount of time. Now, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Evan Engram are all gone, but the point stands that they were missing a ton of important pieces last season. Now, would they have been a playoff team last year? No, they would not have. Trevor did not look great at all. So, why do I think they can win the division? Well, for one, they're in the AFC South. The Colts are one more Anthony Richardson failure from blowing up the franchise. The Titans have rookie quarterback with a not-so-great supporting cast. The Texans are simply not the great team that we once thought they could be. Last season, the Texans went 5-1 versus AFC South opponents. Bobby Slowick did not look as good as an offensive coordinator as he did the year prior, and he's no longer there for a reason, and their already awful offensive line has gotten worse. If it is not the worst in the league, it's bottom 5. They traded Laramie Tunsil and replaced him with Cam Robinson, a known below-average tackle for the Jaguars and Vikings who's always injured. They brought in guard Laken Tomlinson, who's just a stopgap type of starting guard, and he's not great. And the returning projected starting offensive linemen include now right guard, former right tackle Titus Howard, right tackle Blake Fisher, who allowed 28 pressures on 305 pass blocking snaps, and center Jarrett Patterson, who allowed 16 pressures on 405 pass blocking snaps. Almost every offensive lineman on this team graded out poorly, and they did draft tackle Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota in the second round, but he will not start right away, if at all, in his rookie season, so who knows if he will work out for them. After their horrible attempt to revamp this offensive line, I don't know if they can succeed if they're going to be dominating the trenches every game. They won only one game against teams with a winning record last year, that being a close fight against the Bills. Their defense is great, but I don't know if their defense can save them from the inevitable trench battle they will lose every single game on the offensive side of the ball. I guess we'll have to see if CJ Stroud can return to his rookie season form. He has the new exciting weapons with the two rookies Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll out of Iowa, and former Jaguar Christian Kirk. But seriously, I don't know if he'll have any time to throw in this pocket. Before I continue on about the Jags, I want to tell you about Underdog. Underdog is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. All you have to do is pick higher or lower on 2-day players' projections on a pick'em entry, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. They also have daily and season-long drafts, which I'll be live streaming later this month and for the rest of the summer. Not only that, if you sign up with code Fanatics, you get a deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus credit and a free pick. Again, that's code Fanatics for that insane sign-up offer, just so you can try and win some money. Another thing that helps the Jaguars is that they have a fairly easy schedule. It's the 9th easiest in the NFL according to strength schedule and 8th according to PFF's advanced strength of schedule. That is huge for a young up-and-coming team that's trying to make a push in their own division. Give them a head start by having very winnable games. There's a lot of winnable games at the end of the season for the Jags, and if they can win some of the games that Vegas will predict to be tight, they have a real shot at the division. The early season games are a little difficult though. The biggest issue in Jacksonville wasn't their roster last season, it was their culture. Doug Pederson simply did not care about coaching this team. Trent Baalke has always been a terrible general manager. Majority of their defensive players did not look as good as they once had, which can be potentially drawn to a scheme issue. However, they brought in Packers linebacker coach and defensive run game coordinator Anthony Campanile to be their new defensive coordinator, who coached one of the best run defenses in the league last year, where Jacksonville ranked 25th in yards allowed. New head coach Liam Coen and general manager James Gladstone look to be completely bought into turning this organization around, minus the Liam Coen stuff. Coen did help Baker have the best season of his career by a landslide. I think he could do the same for Trevor Lawrence this year. Coen was very good at scheming receivers open and creating gaps for the running backs to exploit as the OC in Tampa, and Jacksonville needs something like that after the disaster class that was their 2024 offense. The Buccaneers' veterans on offense immediately bond to Coen. That shows something of his leadership skills. If veterans buy into the first year and first ever NFL offensive coordinator from day one, it says a lot about what type of guy he is, how much they respected him. Baker Mayfield is quoted saying, "Liam has done an incredible job. The influence he's had throughout all the guys, teaching the game of football, teaching the details of why we're doing certain things, why we have certain plays, alerted or canned, whatever you want to call it. He does a great job of that and then calling plays to his players' strengths. That's what good offense coordinators do. And he's done an unbelievable job of that. As Baker just said, he calls plays to player strengths, and he does that specifically in the run game. I mean, he's a master of calling the run game. Although he helped Baker Mayfield set those career highs, he completely changed that Buccaneers rushing attack. They went from dead last in 2023 with 88.8 yards per game to 4th last year with 149.2. Sure, they did add Bucky Irving, but The Jags potentially added their version of Bucky Irving in Bashal Tutin in the 4th round. He's the type of guy who has great explosiveness when a hole opens up and can play his role in the receiving game, which is exactly what Jacksonville needs. Tutin compared well to Bucky in terms of college efficiency. Bucky was in the 92nd percentile in after contact rate and 99th percentile in missed tackle rate since 2014, while Tutin posted 96th percentile after contact rate and 98th percentile missed tackle rate. Only one college running back was more efficient than Tutin, Ashton Jeanty of course, but none were more athletic than him. He had a 9.56 RAS score, which was 93rd out of 2,099 running backs since 1987. Coen handpicked Tutin. He fits well in this run scheme. For running back room that saw regression last season from its number 1 guy, he could have a nice role. It seems as though ETN, despite rumors, will not be traded, will start as a team's running back 1 according to reports, and Coen has been praising him all offseason. Either way, they have a solid backfield now. With Coen's scheme, you got Tank Bigsby in there as well, who's definitely not a bad runner. Liam is known to stretch the field and make the defense defend every blade of grass in the run game. These running backs are all great fits for his scheme, especially Tutin and ETN. And to help these running backs and Trevor Lawrence even more, the offensive line saw some upgrades. They signed center Robert Hainsey from Tampa Bay. Clearly Coen liked him when he had him, and guard Patrick McCarry from Baltimore, as well as drafting guard tackle Wyatt Millam in the 3rd round, who could start day 1 for this team. He led all college tackles in pass block rate with a 91.0 and was 4th in run block with an 89.2. He does project to be a guard in the NFL because of the whole short arms argument, but this team needs a guard more than a tackle right now anyways. I've said all of this and brought up all these points about how the Jaguars could win this division, whether it's their run game or their coaching improvements, but it all depends if Trevor Lawrence can stay healthy and improve under Coen, which he should in this scheme. I mean, Liam Coen did great things for Baker. Lawrence has been a draft disappointment up to this point in his career after the immense amount of hype he got out of Clemson. He did face some hardship last year. He got injured. He was 39th in drop rate at 9.0% and the 20th ranked offensive line according to PFF, and truly only had Brian Thomas Jr. and Engram to throw to. Even saying that, he was not perfect himself. 35th in turnover-worthy play percentage at 3.9% and only 15th in big-time throw percentage, but he still is showing signs that he could be an elite quarterback when healthy. And if he has a coach who cares, like when Doug Pederson did just a couple of years ago, he was 7th at MVP voting on a team that had one of the best playoff comebacks of all time against the Chargers. But this year, it isn't just Brian Thomas Jr. for Trevor Lawrence. They drafted generational athlete Travis Hunter, who will play full-time wide receiver for the team, as well as defensive packages at cornerback. Signed De'Ami Brown to be their wide receiver 3, who's alright, and tight end Brenton Strange showed some promise last year when Evan Engram was hurt, and he's someone to look out for in 2025. On top of the rookie running back Tutin and the O-line upgrades, this offense can easily finish at least top half of the league in scoring, if everybody stays healthy. Because again, the roster was not the main issue for the Jags last season. Not that it was a great roster. But the Jags will need their defense to step up for all of this to work. They have some young stars on the side of the ball, some ready for a breakout. Number 1 overall pick Travon Walker is very underrated because he wasn't in Hutchinson. He's put up back-to-back near 60 pressure and 10 sack seasons. Josh Hines-Allen is a star just 2 seasons removed from his 17.5 sack season, and he just had 63 pressures last year. Devin Lloyd is the best tackling linebacker in the NFL, having the lowest missed tackle rate at 4.5% last year. The biggest issue was their secondaries allowed the most passing yards in the league, but they upgraded there as well, signing quarterback Jordan Lewis, safety Eric Murray, and drafting defensive back Caleb Branshaw out of Tulane. Although they did reach on him, he's a versatile player who can play nickel or safety. They have a chance to see some progression alongside their new defensive coordinator, who I already talked about, Anthony Campanile, who will bring a new scheme to this defense that struggled to fit into Ryan Nielsen's scheme last year. If all of these things can get working on the defensive side of the ball, like the young stars of Travon Walker and Devin Lloyd breaking out again, maybe they could be a serviceable unit on a team that desperately needs that to have any improvement this year. Now, the Jaguars are not an elite team by any means, but they upgraded a lot this offseason at huge positions of need. They have a very easy schedule, are in one of the softest divisions in the league. If the Texans don't figure out their 2024 struggles, a healthy Jacksonville team can take their crown and win the AFC South this season. But it all truly depends on Trevor Lawrence. If he can stay healthy and improves in Liam Coen's scheme, which he should, and if he doesn't, that's when you get worried, then the Jaguars should be the ones winning this division in 2025.